A call to order this regular meeting of the Atascadero Planning Commission. Today is Tuesday, October 1st. I'm gonna have Mr. Van den Eyck do the pledge. If everyone can please stand.
The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
We can have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Anderson. Commissioner Heath.
Here.
Commissioner Hughes.
Here.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes.
Chairperson Keen.
Here.
Commissioner Carranza.
Here.
Vice Chairperson Van den Eyck.
Here.
All present.
Okay, can we get an approval of the agenda, please?
I'll make a motion, please.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes.
Commissioner Heath. Commissioner Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Carranza.
Approve, yes.
Commissioner Hughes.
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Van den Eyck.
Yes.
Chairperson Keen.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, it's time for public comment. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons wishing to address the commission on any matter not on this agenda and over which the commission has jurisdiction. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Please state your name for the record before making your presentation and make your way to the podium. If anyone has any comments. Okay, seeing none, I will close public comment. We'll move on to the consent calendar.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Carranza.
Yes.
Commissioner Heath. Commissioner Hughes.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Van den Eyck.
Yes.
Chairperson Keen.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, there are no staff reports, so we'll move on to the public hearings and let's do a disclosure of ex parte communications. Commissioner Heath, do you have any ex parte?
Can you please turn on your microphone?
Technical difficulties.
Can you try using Jason's and see if that works?
Okay,
Yay.
that's better. I am familiar with some of the projects at Echo. Little familiar with this project just through our Atascadero Kiwanis group, which I'm involved in. We do a lot of work with Echo.
Okay, Commissioner Anderson?
Pretty much the same situation. You know, we do work with the church ABC and with through Kiwanis, so we are familiar with the institution.
Okay. Vice Chairperson Van den Eyck.
None.
Commissioner Carranza?
I did go take a tour of Echo at the shelter with the CEO, Wendy Lewis, just on Monday. And other than that, I've spent a lot of time at their garden. Yes, that's about it.
Commissioner Schmidt?
I too am a member of Kiwanis, and through that association, very familiar about what goes on at Echo. Same with church too.
Okay, Commissioner Hughes?
I did meet with Wendy Lewis on Monday, did a walkthrough, and got to see what Echo is about. It was awesome.
I also met with Wendy and Austin a few weeks ago now. We did a tour of the facility. We looked at the property where they're proposing to build the structure. I've also served dinner there, made donations there. So pretty familiar with Echo. So okay, so I think we're ready for our presentation.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Alexandria Fowler, and I am representing the Community Development Department this evening. The item that is before you is the Emergency Shelter Overlay Zone Amendment, which is case number AMND 24-0060, and it involves the property located at 6370 Atascadero Avenue. The project site is located across the street from the North County Christian School, the Atascadero Bible Church, and approximately 100 feet from the driveway entrance for the Atascadero High School. The project site is zoned residential multifamily with an emergency shelter overlay. The site is bordered by a mix of single and multifamily residential units. And the approximately 1.4 acre site is developed with an existing 2-story, 9,355 square foot emergency shelter. El Camino Homeless Organization, also known as ECHO, is the project applicant. ECHO operates the existing emergency shelter and associated programs at the project site. The emergency shelter is at capacity most nights and has a waiting list of people in need of overnight shelter. In addition, some of ECHO's existing clients are families with young children with different service level needs than the existing facility is equipped to accommodate. Based on these needs, ECHO contacted the city to discuss changes to the emergency shelter's operation management plan and the existing conditional use permit to maximize the use of the existing site to better meet the needs of Atascadero's homeless population. Those discussions resulted in ECHO's request for the following land use entitlements. The first is a zoning text amendment to increase the maximum number of overnight beds and meal program participants. The second is an amendment to the previously approved conditional use permit, PLN 2014-1492, to modify the conditions of approval to be consistent with the requested increase in the number of meal program participants. And third is an amendment to the operation and management plan to be consistent with the requested increase in the number of overnight beds and to increase operational hours for the shower program for non-shelter clients. If the requested entitlements are approved, ECHO will be able to proceed with the ministerial review of building permits for the construction of an expansion to the existing facility. The requested entitlements all require city council action. Therefore, the planning commission will not be tasked with taking final action on the project this evening. Instead, the commission will be making a recommendation to the city council. The relevant entitlement history for the project site and the emergency shelter stems back to 2013, when the emergency shelter ordinance was adopted and the project site was designated for use as an overnight emergency shelter. As required by the emergency shelter ordinance, in 2014, an on-site operations management plan was approved, and so was a conditional use permit to establish the meal program for non-shelter clients. Lastly, in 2019, amendments were approved that increased the maximum number of shelter clients, updated the hours of operation, modified some of the allowable special activities and programs on the site, and decreased the number of required neighborhood meetings annually. For consideration this evening are the following proposed amendments. Amending the emergency shelter overlay zone operating standards to increase the maximum number of overnight beds from 60 to 90, to increase the maximum number of meal program participants from 80 to 100. Next is amending the previously approved conditional use permit conditions of approval to reflect the increase in the maximum number of meal program participants being requested. And last is amending ECHO Shelter's operation and management plan to reflect the increase in the maximum number of overnight beds and to increase the operational hours up to 15 hours per week for non-shelter client shower program, and removing the limitation on the specific number of days and timeframes that the shower program is allowed to operate. Regarding the proposed amendment to the previously approved conditions of approval, it's important to note that the 6 proposed conditions that are in Exhibit C of your staff report packet are in addition to the previously approved ones. Due to the proposed change to the maximum meal program participants from 80 to 100, the language for one of those previously approved conditions of approval necessitated the text amendment as shown above, and it's also contained in your staff report. The proposed amendments to the emergency shelter overlay zone and the operation agreement are necessary for the expansion of the current emergency shelter facility. ECHO is proposing to locate a building addition in the area shown in green, which is between the existing building shown in blue and the street. The emergency shelter expansion will be a 7,600 square foot, 2-story custom modular structure with an enclosed walkway connection between the existing building and the proposed. The construction method will consist of 7 prefabricated modules built off-site and designed to be transported via flatbed to the project site for installation. The expansion of the existing shelter facility will allow ECHO to accommodate additional beds, restrooms, bathing facilities, a laundry room, a multipurpose room, small lounge rooms, and additional space for employees. Due to the nature of the prefabricated product proposed, a hip roof is proposed to screen roof-mounted equipment behind a parapet. The exterior building articulation will be limited to exterior paint and finishes. The applicant will work with the manufacturer to explore the feasibility of additional exterior enhancement options, such as recessed windows, siding treatments, extension of the roof overhang, and entry porch features. Under AB 2339, which was part of the state housing package that was passed in 2022, ministerial approval of expanded shelter facilities like the proposed expansion for ECHO is allowed. As discussed in the staff report, by general rule, CEQA does not apply to projects that do not have the potential to cause a significant effect on the environment. CEQA also identifies categorical exemptions for specific types of projects and activities. The proposed text amendments, updates to the on-site operation plan, and the physical expansion of the existing shelter facility to accommodate additional overnight guests and program activities all qualify for exemption from further environmental review. Additionally, the proposed addition to the existing building is exempt from further environmental review because the proposed addition is less than 10,000 square feet, is proposed in an area with existing public services and facilities, and is in a previously developed urban area that is not environmentally sensitive. This project is scheduled for city council action on November 12th, 2024. A public hearing notice for that meeting will be posted and mailed to adjacent property owners. The city council will be the final decision-making body for this project. Therefore, it is staff's recommendation that the planning commission adopt resolution A, recommending the city council introduce an ordinance for the first reading by title only to approve amendments to the Atascadero Municipal Code, Title 9, Chapter 3, Article 23, Emergency Shelter Overlay Text. And second, approve amendments to Conditional Use Permit, PLN 2014-1492. And lastly, amend the operations and management plan for the El Camino Homeless Organization to allow for an expansion of the existing shelter and programs located at 6370 Atascadero Avenue. This concludes staff's presentation. I'm available for any questions that you may have. And I would also like to note that the applicant does have a PowerPoint presentation for you as well. Thank you.
Do you guys mind if we hear from the applicant, or do you have questions for staff right now? Yes, Commissioner Schmidt.
Well, Ms. Fowler, you had noted in your presentation that there are 6 additional conditions that are being added with the new approval. And I'm kind of puzzled about conditions 3, 4, and 5. They seem to me that they would have been applicable before. Those actually weren't in the previous approval.
They were not.
Wow. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else before we hear from the applicant? No? Okay, the applicant can come up and we'll hear your presentation.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Magic. Thank you. Good evening. My name is Austin Solheim. I am the Director of Development for El Camino Homeless Organization. And first and foremost, I just want to thank the community that showed up today and to you, the Planning Commission, for being here and being a part of our community to hear us out about this project. I'm going to come back a little later today, but first I want to introduce you to an incredible member of this construction team in our architect. Ms. Rebecca, do you want to come up and talk about the project itself and any of that?
Good evening. Oh, can you hear me okay? Right. Thank you, Austin. My name is Rebecca Newman and I'm with Air Studio Architects. First, I'd like to thank staff for the presentation and all the commissioners tonight for the opportunity to present this exciting addition to ECHO's facility. Now, it's been a pleasure working with ECHO and helping to contribute to the services that they provide to our community. Tonight, we will hear from ECHO about the program and the wonderful impact it has. But before we do, I'd like to quickly walk through the addition and touch on the unique construction style that will help quickly get more families housed. As you know, the project site is located on Atascadero Avenue, just on the other side of the freeway. And between ECHO's existing facility and the street, we are proposing a 2-story modular addition. The first floor is the residential area containing 7 sleeping rooms, relaxation and program spaces, and restroom, bathing, and laundry areas that are separate from the rest of the facility. Skipped ahead. There's also staff offices and break facilities on the first floor. Now, I mentioned that one of the more unique aspects of the project was the modular construction. And modular construction is where they build and finish the building in a factory offsite and then ship the modules, or sometimes they call them boxes, to assemble at the project site. Excuse me. The outlines shown in dashed red are the modules for the project. One of the major benefits to this construction method is timeline and schedule. While site work is being done on site, such as the utilities, the slab, etc., the modules are already in construction and being built off-site in a factory here on the Central Coast. The second floor is equipped with additional office space for staff with a bridge connection to the existing building. Again, shown here, the dash lines indicate modules. There are 7 modules on the first floor and 5 on the second. And with that, I'll hand it back over to Austin.
Thank you, Rebecca. So I get the pleasure of talking to you today a little bit about how we came to be and how this project came to be today, a little bit about the history of ECHO. And I know that some of you are very familiar with ECHO through different means, but I know that some of you said you have no relation. So this is really for a lot of you. First, I want to just share a little timeline. ECHO was founded in 2001. But I want to highlight that there were volunteers in our community doing this work before that time. That ECHO was truly a volunteer initiative and a volunteer-run organization that did not hire its first actual staff member until 2011. In 2001, ECHO was founded as a nonprofit with a simple mission to serve the community that was facing homelessness and provide meals. In about 2008 to that 2013 timeframe is when the original building was purchased in Atascadero. That at one time was a Baptist church in our community that served as one of the locations that ECHO used as an overnight shelter and meal program. In 2019, as was mentioned, was the last time that we have updated our conditional use permit almost 5 years ago to really reflect the services that we have today. And we have continued to grow and continue to learn from those that we're serving to adapt and create better services. In 2020, ECHO opened an additional campus in Paso Robles. We actually added 70 beds to our capacity at that time at another location, which was an old Motel 6. And now we look to the future and the project that we are presenting to you today. I really want to highlight the legacy of service. As I mentioned, the ECHO began in 2001 with a simple community-focused mission, providing meals and support to those in our community at need. It really did start as a volunteer-run initiative with individuals in different churches throughout North County that volunteered to host a true warming shelter, provide that meal, and more importantly, provide that sense of community. In the late 2000s, with overwhelming support of the community, one of the locations, the Atascadero Baptist Church, that is our current location of 6370, became the original site for ECHO, its first original home. It really marked a shift in the organization from temporary shelter rotating from different sites to a permanent location where services could be provided in North County specifically, where they have not been provided before. One thing I do want to highlight too is that we are still very much a volunteer-run organization. So circle back to 2001, we had volunteers from the community, but just from January to September in 2024, we have had 2,886 individual volunteers donate their time to support ECHO, its program, and its mission. One of the most significant transformation in ECHO's history in our service model was the shift to an overnight shelter to a 90-day model. The reason that I want to highlight this is because it is a true shift in philosophy. ECHO was doing an incredible job at the time of getting people off the street for the night, and during the day, people would leave the shelter and go back into the community. What we learned from those that we were serving and from our community members is that in order to help them cross the bridge from homelessness into housing and stability, we needed to offer a more comprehensive program and meet them where they're at with services and resources and individualized case management. The 90-day model is a model that we adapted to really provide that stability to individuals and families, creating case plans around them that truly help them find the resources and support that they needed to get back into stable housing. So we took that extra step to no longer just focus on getting people off the street for the night, but also to really emphasize the amount of work that would go into getting them back into stability and back into housing in our community. As I mentioned, in 2020, we opened that second campus in Paso Robles, eventually adding 70 beds to North County's capacity, bringing ECHO's total shelter capacity through North County to 130 beds. Over the years, ECHO has continued to expand its services and grow, including outreach services, workforce development initiatives, and so much more, including even homeless prevention, opportunities to keep individuals in our community housed without ever having to experience homelessness. And every year we move toward creating more adaptable and flexible programs. And this is an initiative and a program that we truly believe will benefit our community and those in ECHO that we serve. Our impact today. I really want to emphasize that ECHO is more than just a shelter and more than just an emergency shelter program. It's a comprehensive support system designed to address homelessness from multiple angles. Again, we have a range of programs really focused to help individuals and families regain their stability, really highlighting that in the 90-day program, it becomes a very safe and essential place for those that are experiencing homelessness to access things like housing navigation, financial literacy, education, job readiness, training, and other resources that can assist them, everything, childcare, connection to services, as long, and not just through ECHO as well. This is a collaboration of partners and resources throughout North County that utilize our campus as a centralized location to serve multiple people, not just individuals experiencing homelessness, but also those on the brink of experiencing homelessness, to navigate resources and stay housed and get back into stable housing. I want to highlight the individuals that we have served in our 90-day program through 2024 so far this year in Atascadero. In Atascadero, we have served 208 individuals and families just in our 90-day emergency shelter program in Atascadero. And specifically, I want to highlight the first three numbers. Those are individuals under the age of 5 through 5 and 12 and 13 and 17 that we have served in our program, specifically in Atascadero. Just showing that there are families that are currently staying and utilizing our services that are in our community. Currently in that program, in our 90-day program, we have served 98 men, 106 women, and 4 other. And so I just want to highlight that it is a very diverse population that we are serving through our 90-day program in Atascadero. Beyond shelter, I really want to highlight ECHO's homeless prevention program as well, as I mentioned. We really work proactively to keep individuals and families in their homes. This is an initiative that we've learned to be more flexible and adaptable, and really to create opportunities for someone to never have to experience homelessness. But it's not just about, creating an opportunity for them to stay housed for 1 month. It's also about connecting them with further resources, making sure that they have the financial literacy, a one-on-one budget, a case plan, and all the resources at their fingertips to remain housed, not just for the month, but also to continue to stay housed in that program as well. And it's also become one of the incredible opportunities of our outreach services, like our dinner program and our shower program, because it becomes a connection to those individuals, to those families, to create opportunities for them to come on site and feel safe and engage with our staff, and even address food insecurity in our community. As we have seen in our meal program, true to ECHO's roots since 2001, we see individuals and families experiencing homelessness, but today we see just as many individuals and families that are suffering due to inflation and rising rental costs, that are using our meal program and using our outreach services to engage in conversations about how to remain in their housing in our community. We also engage in outreach services that directly go into encampments, that work with individuals that are currently on the streets. We have an outreach case manager and a partnership with the Atascadero Police Department to provide case management for the CAT team that goes out into our community, engages with those encampments, and provides resources and engagement to individuals that are currently on the street to talk about opportunities beyond even ECHO's 90-day program, beyond just the resources that are in our county, but talking about everything that might be able to support them on their journey back into stability. And a critical part of our mission that I want to highlight is our ability to continue to grow and be flexible. One of our new initiatives is actually to develop a workforce development program in partnership with Must Charities. And we are using our commercial kitchen in Atascadero to build in a training program directly into the hospitality industry, directly in our community, listening to some of our partners, some of our sponsors about the need for workforce and the need and where it's going to come from, knowing that we have an opportunity to provide training and skills to individuals that are staying in our 90-day program to directly empower them to find stability and jobs in our community. Documented success. This is something I absolutely want to highlight. So this number is just from 2024. So just from January of 2024 to September, ECHO has helped 253 individuals and families secure stable housing. In 2023, that number was only 201. We've continued to see our services be incredibly impactful, and we continue to grow and be more adaptable. 181 of those have come directly from our shelter and outreach programs. An additional 72 have come directly from ECHO's homeless prevention services. Two of the statistics that I really want to highlight is that for the folks that really engage in ECHO services in the 90-day program, which this addition is the capacity building for 30 more 90-day beds, over 50% of those individuals and families successfully exit our program into stable housing. And beyond that, over 90% of those individuals and families remain housed after they leave our program, because it is about providing them with the support and stability and resources to remain housed, not just to get into housing. The need for growth. So one of the main reasons that we are here today is because although we have seen increased success in our programs, we have also seen our wait lists grow over the past few years. This graph that you see before you is the numbers of our current wait lists. We have men and women and couples and families on our wait list. And I want to highlight that on our families, currently right now, as of today, we have 43 families that are on ECHO's wait list, which is 125 individuals. So even if ECHO was to empty both our Paso Robles campus and our Atascadero campus, we would still have individuals on our wait list that are seeking services in our community. But we also understand that we need to grow sustainably and smart. That it's not about how we open as many beds as we can, as fast as we can. It's how we continue the quality of service that has gotten so many individuals and families to remain stable in the housing that they've got as well. The new Family Resource Center will add 30 additional beds on the campus to provide improved rooms for families, expanding our continuum of care and reducing the numbers on our wait list. Beyond additional bed, the center will also offer critical support services such as parenting workshops, job training, and access to healthcare and educational resources, all in one centralized location. And we want to talk a little bit and highlight of why we chose the partners that we did. The first that I want to talk about is our wonderful friends at RA Studio Architects, who have been amazing, incredible partners, local partners here in Atascadero and Paso Robles that have helped us to establish multiple programs. They are not only known by ECHO, but just known very well in our community and are very reputable. The second is Bevy House. The Bevy House is the modular build organization that we are using to create this project. And some of the reasons that we really went with this provider was because they helped us to create a project with a shorter timeline. Because they have the ability to build this in a factory offsite, that also means that a local contractor can be working on site at the exact same time, working on the foundation for the project. So cutting the timeline for this project almost in half. It means a faster completion time, one for the community that is impacted, but also for those that we are serving, creating both just a faster timeline for everyone involved. And then the third reason is also just cost efficiency. Being able to do those things at the same time really reduces on-site labor costs and limits potential delays caused by weather and other external factors that we do face here on the Central Coast. I'd like to invite now our Wendy Lewis, ECHO's CEO, to talk a little bit about some of the community that supports this mission and this project specifically.
So good evening, everybody. Thank you for your time and your service on the commission. I'm Wendy Lewis, the CEO of El Camino Homeless Organization. First, I'd love to reiterate our thanks to the city through this process. The city has been incredible partners, thoughtful. The planning department has been amazing to work with, and really working on this in tandem to bring this vital resource online as quick as possible. It's really been a pleasure. Want to point out the faces on the screen. Those are 4 different families that were in our Atascadero location, and all facing different circumstances that found themselves needing our services, needing the stability of the ECHO program. The family in the upper left, the mother was working all her life in a managerial level, was in a severe car accident and lost her housing due to medical bills and things coming in. So ECHO provided the stability for that family to not only just be at the shelter, but be supported like a home. That's one of our philosophies. When you're with us, you're part of our family, and we're going to serve you in the best way possible. So the young lady off to the left, she was actually a senior in our high school this past year when she was staying with us, and they were successfully housed right after she graduated. And we were able to work with the community to give her all the things that you would want your high school senior to have. She was able to go to prom. She was able to go to grad night. night. Our local community came together, and like when prom, they helped with dresses and did makeup and all of that. And that's truly what Echo is there for everybody in our community. They are now housed, and they are proudly holding a new program where we work with the Community Foundation, and they provide welcome home baskets for our mothers with children and our families with children. The family on the right, they were a family that came to us also because of medical crisis. The young lady that's standing proudly next to her brother, and the young lady that the mom is holding has severe medical situations that they just weren't equipped by themselves to get connected to and find the right resources to help her children. Her mom, they found their way through us, through the local school district, who knew Echo was a place people could turn to. And now they are also one of those proud hands on the wall you see behind them. Those are kind of our celebration walls that we have at both locations. Last year, handprints were blue, and that was 201 between the two locations. This year is orange. Don't tell Paso it's because of the Atascadero color. We've convinced them it's not. It's actually our accent color, but those show all of those different celebrations. And the family on the bottom left, similar, a father facing single parent facing crisis was able to turn to Echo. And then the young lady on the bottom, her mother came to us and just really was fleeing a bad situation and needed a safe place to turn. And my favorite part why she was with us is we have a lot of seniors staying with us, and the mom was working proudly, and the seniors would fight over who got to watch baby Grace. So it was just really this community supporting everybody within our community. We are just seeking this opportunity because there's more to do. There's families that we're currently serving that are on the wait list. They're already coming to us for dinner and for showers and for supportive services and case management. We just would love this project to go forward in order to get them off of the streets, give them that true stability of having a bed to lay their heads on each night. Also would like to share a few things as we worked on this project. We met with our 4 largest neighbors. We're unique. We're going to be transparent, right? We're a shelter in a neighborhood with a high school, a Christian school, a very large, very supportive church down the street, ABC, and then right across underneath the bridge are wonderful Z Villages developers and all that beautiful project. So we met with those folks just to get input and hear from them and see, are there things we're looking at with some of these changes that could we could adjust to help you as some of our biggest neighbors. One was we met with the high school principal and we got her familiar with our programs. We also learned that many of our students use Echo's address as their address. So we are serving your children right in the school district. And she shared with us that one of our changes to our shower program was to move it a little bit earlier. And she saw that as potentially problematic with a lot more of cross traffic between the people that are coming for those services and the high school students. So we intentionally kept it at that 4 o'clock hour, which she was very pleased about because that was a helpful thing to be helpful to her as the high school principal. So the others really just shared that over the evolution of Echo, we have really tried our best to be good neighbors. We have open channels of communication. Anybody has any concerns, they can reach out to me. I don't think I've had a call in over 4 years because really being available to people who want to bring feedback, want to find out more. And so we will continue to do that. That's in our conditional use permit that we have to respond to a concern within 24 hours. And I can say I have proudly done that since my day one there. We've also worked on that engagement with our neighbors. We have volunteers that actually go in that corridor and help pick up trash in that area, help be part of that. You saw a picture with our outreach case manager who partners with the CAT team and the Our team through the New City partnership. They go out and have conversations with people all throughout our city to let people know that there's resources like Echo. They can come to us and really get them in foot in the door to build trust to eventually get back into housing. So we just want to really thank the city staff again, the commissioners. We're here to answer questions. I did get a few questions ahead of time that I definitely would love to address. One of the concerns was parking. Does Echo have enough parking for the new beds, you know, the additional people? It really isn't new additional people. It's people that are already coming to the campus. They're already coming for showers, for meals, for services. It really is helping to get another 30 people off of the streets at night. Their cars can be parked in our parking lot. There's plenty of space for that. Planning determined that we have plenty of parking, but we really think that adding these additional beds will really address that corridor, that median in our street really becomes this conversation piece. And a lot of those folks are on our wait lists. They're seeking services. They want to take those next steps forward. So really that increase for us will actually help that situation. I also have been in communication with the city manager, and he has been looking at potential changes to that corridor, and we would love to see some of those. He shared with me there's not secured funding yet, but his dream is to actually get rid of the median and change the parking flow that would help with a lot of traffic in that corridor. So I know that that's something he's working on. And then I just also had a few questions. One of your commissioners asked me, why not more than 90? We actually, if you see, there's space that we could add a little bit more, and not that we don't want to do more, but 90 is a really good number to keep the quality of services that we are providing. Past that, the campus gets too large. It gets too large for the neighborhood. You're walking on and not knowing everybody who you can greet and say, hey, Tom, how was your day? It really keeps it where we know everybody, we can serve you in that capacity. So that's the why not more. We also really are being efficient with funding, right? We as Echo have relied on volunteers and really being efficient with our funding. And by keeping it on our property, it's property we already own. It speeds up the process and gets 30 individuals and children off of the street and into a safety and stability. I also just want to thank all the support letters that we had come in, but I want to read you one that really just stood out to me, and would love for the community to hear this. This was unsolicited, came in, and it just made the services we provide in writing just jump out and say, we changed a life and we've changed many. So I'm going to read it as quick as I can. So it says, hello, I'd like to say I approve of this project. I live right around the corner from Echo. I think this is a terrific thing for our community and for so many experiencing homelessness here. 2 years ago, I came to Echo for help. I was unable to find affordable housing and the deposits. I was 53 and not an addict, nor had I ever been incarcerated. They housed me. I brought my credit score up from well under par to even to get into a rental to good. I was able to pay off my debts and find a more stable job. And today I am an inventory manager making well over minimum wage. I have a nice apartment and they secured the deposit for me. They help me in every way. This is a much needed organization, and anyone that wants help and is willing to work for them will succeed at finding a stable home. Thank you, Kelly Hadley. And so that's just one example. And that was my favorite support letter. Please don't let Senator Laird know that this was better than his, but it was so impactful from someone we're serving. So thank you again. And we just appreciate you taking the time to look at this a much needed project.
Does anyone have any questions for the applicant? Yes, Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, there was a discussion at the beginning about modular units. A lot of people don't understand what modular units are and sometimes mix manufactured in with that word. None of these units that are being built or going to be built are not state approved with the HCD, are they?
Sorry, the question was if they were going to be state approved?
No, they will not be state approved, will they? Or go through a plan check through the city?
They go through the state review process. So they will be state approved.
They'll
And the
have
city will
states-
also have them to review as well.
And the state, then we'll stamp them. of the
Absolutely.
HCD office?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Little bit discussion about funding. I noted that there was a letter in our packet from Bailey Co. who is going to be donating $2,800 to for the new facility. Our state, we approve a lot of funding for homeless housing, a lot of it focusing in the Southern California area. Is ECHO going to receive any funding from the state to help support this building?
Austin Solheim. So for this project, we are specifically looking at private donations. So the Balico Foundation and the building itself, if it does come to fruition, will be named after the Balico Foundation. They have agreed to donate $2.8 million of that. The reason that we are trying to keep this as a private is because as soon as you tap into state dollars, prevailing wage comes in and it costs the project even more. And as the writing is on the wall, we see, right, we see the articles that come out about how much money California has spent on homelessness. And we want to do this as a community organization. We absolutely work with grants and projects that come in, but because of the sustainability of this project, we want it to continue and to grow. And so that is why we're looking at private, not state grants for this project specifically.
Yeah, there's, whenever we reach into the state pocket, whether it's you or the city or the county, those strings are always there for you to have to do something to be able to get the money. Are there any of the monies that are available, if there are, I don't even know if they are for this area, are there services that ECHO provides that can't be serviced with state money?
That's correct. So we're very proud of the fact that less than 50% of ECHO's overall budget and our project, not just this project, but in general for our organization, comes from state and county grants. The reason for that is because it gives us the opportunity, as you mentioned, to have less strings attached, to be more flexible with that money to meet the needs of the community that we're serving, and specifically to navigate for services that someone may not qualify for that state funding. There's certain requirements that come down from either the state or from the Fed that require you to only serve certain populations. But as we have seen through our years at ECHO, is that the face of homelessness is always changing. Families are growing, seniors with aging disabilities are growing. And so we want to be flexible with our services to provide direct aid to the population that's right in front of us, not to the attachments of those funding that comes in.
Lastly, I've noticed when going down the street that police services have changed. It seems to be that there are social workers working with the police department and meeting with certain clients on the street and trying to help them in whatever way they can. Not knowing if that occurs to any of your clients, but my question would be is if they are recipients of that new service from the police department, are there good comments about what's happening or not?
Absolutely. We have become a tool for our law enforcement department here, and we are actually a model that is looked at across our county as how successful outreach can be done. We have had just this year, I believe the number is 18 individuals directly from our riverbed get back into stable housing, and not even including all the individuals that have worked through that to gain trust and consistency with our police department to engage in conversations about services and move directly into ECHO's 90-day program as well. It's been an amazing collaboration, and we're very proud of the work that we do. And we actually, as ECHO, one of our case managers goes out with that police department to provide the case management and resources for individuals experiencing homelessness.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dennis.
Anyone else questions for the applicant? Yes, Commissioner Anderson.
I just wanted to commend you guys on the work you do. I'm very proud of seeing our community come together and help to house those who have become, for whatever reason, without a home. Being homeless is much more than being houseless. So you guys are providing much more than just a housing. So thank you for that. I also like to commend our police department for understanding that, and what a lot of people don't understand is that the police department services mostly a lot of the people who are unhoused. They're the ones in need of a lot of the services. A lot of crime is committed against people who are homeless. So they've been really, really good in that. And I'm glad that you're working with them for that. My question is, the goal of ECHO has always been to get people off the street and back into stable housing. But I really like the fact that you're looking at preventing homelessness in the first place. So your homelessness prevention program, how is that going to be increased and modified in the future?
So for the homeless prevention program specifically, it comes down to available funding. We are tapping into multiple funding streams, but we're still teaching, those above us that create those funding streams, that is an important infrastructure, right? That it is important and just as important to keep people housed as it is to provide these services, especially with the circumstances. So we're continuing to have conversations. Right now, we are actually in the process of applying for a grants for specific funds to do that because our funds for 2024 have actually ran out. We are at a limit here where we are, but we are continuing to grow that opportunity and tap into other funding streams to provide that service of homeless prevention because we've seen it become such a powerful tool in our community for those that we're serving.
The one thing to add with that component is we are the hub for someone in North County who is facing that. So I fielded a call the other day from a young mom who came home to the notice on her door. And just the fear in her as she called and didn't know what to do. Her children's school said, call ECHO. They might be able to help. And thankfully, we have these funds and we have this program. We were able to work with her and keep her in that housing. So keep the children and her from ever experiencing homelessness and this traumas that come with that. Can you imagine being on the streets with your children, maybe have a car, maybe not, but it's not just giving them that money and keeping them in housing. It's then wrapping case management services, even with that housed individual, to teach them different resources in the community to help them with financial literacy, with, do you know about the food bank distributions in our community? Do you know about ECHO's meal program that you can come and have a dinner and your children can get food for the night and you're not having to go pay for that food, another way to save. So our case managers know all of these different pieces that help in that program as well as people staying in our 90-day program.
Thank you.
All right, I got one question.
Okay, go ahead.
So earlier you mentioned that you have a 50% success rate as far as getting people into, long-term housing, which that's an amazing number. Of the other 50%, do you have any that return or any numbers on that?
I don't have any numbers with me today, but we absolutely do see individuals and families that return to our campus. A lot of folks in that 50%, they may only have stayed with us for a week, right? They may have stayed with us for a month. They may have stayed with us for the entirety of that 90-day program. But there is always an opportunity for someone to come back and engage with services and still stay connected with services. It's really one of the incredible and important components of our outreach services like our meal program, because just because someone leaves the shelter does not mean that their case plan is paused. Doesn't mean that they may not be working towards something. It may not have been the right time or the right program or the right fit for them at that time, but it doesn't mean that we're just going to toss out their entire case plan. We're going to continue to work with them. We're going to engage them with our outreach case manager. If they're interested in getting back on our wait list, then that's a conversation that we're going to have, and we're going to continue to work with them. And we have absolutely had incredible, stories of some individuals that have come through that program 1, 2, 3 times and gotten back into stable housing. So absolutely, we definitely do see, I don't have a number, but we don't, of those 50% that do return to our services, but we absolutely do see that. And we do see success from those.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that because the homelessness is a very complicated issue. And it may segue through certain cycles. Someone may have to work to a certain point and benefit from other programs that are going on. So thank you for answering that. And then as a previous Bearcat, I mean, next year, maybe could you do some burgundy for those handprints?
I've heard green needs to come too at some point, so I'm
Okay,
getting
okay.
lots of pressure from North County.
Okay, thank you for your time and thank you for everything that you guys do for the public.
Commissioner Kranza?
I'm glad to have gone a little bit last because a lot of these pictures and stories are making me not want to get on the mic because I might just be in tears about it. Yeah, there's no doubt that this program has impacted so many individual lives and families, but it ripples out to, I think, the pride we feel in our community that we're able to be supportive. So see, I told you, supportive of this in so many ways. And so I feel honored to even be able to be a very small slice of this tonight. I will say that just cutting the tension a bit, I do see that there's a rub sometimes with, community members that, as much as they see this as a positive impact, they also have a rub with how it affects their daily living situation in the Sunken Gardens or in the tunnels or on Tascadero Avenue on the street side. And I'm seeing a couple of nods, and I just want to cut that tension because we are here tonight to listen to all of it. And we understand that there's hard decisions that have to be made with opportunity costs for everything. And I see this as an us problem, a societal community problem. And it's very complex, as one of my fellow commissioners was saying. So I guess I just wanted to at least cut that tension, that I know that there's also a really complicated side to talk about because it impacts like a daily quality of life for others that are having the opportunity costs living close by that may not feel as excited about it. So just had to state that. One thing that I found out about the tour that I took on Monday with the CEO Wendy there is that, it's not just a stack 'em and pack 'em building. I was playing the devil's advocate and I said, hey, in that floor plan that Rebecca had, why do we need another office there? Why do you need another cubicle lobby zone? Like you could probably fit another room there. Like you might even be able to have 2 more rooms. I'm like, I'm no architect here, but what's going on? And she said, we actually really do care about the quality of life for everyone who's living within that. And we're not here to just throw as many people in a little space as possible. And so I thought that spoke to a lot of the integrity and how they're doing this in that regard. And also the construction time. That is a huge aspect to this project that I think matters for the folks that are living on Atascadero Avenue and around it. It's that we're not going to have as much construction and as much issues as if this was going to be probably twice as long with a different setup. So anyhow, I don't have as much questions other than the time and the thoughtfulness that everyone's put into it thus far, and here to listen to everyone's thoughts today.
Okay, I have a quick question. Would you say that the majority of people that you serve are from North County, or are there a lot of people from outside of North County?
It's a very good question. We get that question quite a bit. And so when we actually do take note of that and we look at that. And so 85% of the individuals that we serve at ECHO are from here. They are from San Luis Obispo County. They are from our county. And even I want to highlight that 15% that is not usually someone that came here homeless already. It's someone that came from this community, that came from a different community looking for an opportunity, that thought they had a job, that thought they had a place to stay, and became homeless in that situation a majority of that time and ends up at our door in that situation. So I do want to highlight that other 15%, that 85% of the individuals we serve are from here.
Oops, thank you. I think you guys can have a seat. I appreciate your time. Okay, so do we have any other questions of staff before I open public comments? No? Okay, so let's open public comment on this agenda item. Okay.
One quick question for staff. When working with them on the application process and the permitting process and whatnot, there's a lot of costs associated with that. And I just was curious about if we're looking at maximizing the amount of support we're giving them. I heard that there was a good effort in trying to look at how we can be efficient with both the applicant's time and also staff time. So I don't know if you wanted to speak to that.
Yeah, so our service fees and development impact fees are based on studies that come before council and get adopted regularly. So there's not really a lot that city staff can do with fees. If we participate in a project or reduce any fees, that is a gift of public funds, and it does trigger prevailing wage and does have to go to council for approval as a general fund gift of funds from our general fund. So there's not a lot that we can do to reduce fees other than sort of expedite certain processes where possible in terms of timing for an applicant.
Okay, so let's go ahead and open public comment. So this portion of the meeting is for persons wishing to address the commission on the ECHO matter. Please you will be limited to 3 minutes. Please state your name for the record, and I'll let you know when you have about 15 seconds left.
Good evening. My name is Jay DeCou. I live at 6705 Santa Lucia. I back up to Echo. You've heard all the fluff and stuff tonight, but I'm here to tell you about reality, about people pooping in your yard, stealing, coming over your fence, stealing things, breaking things. I would disagree with staff's recommendation that it's not an environmental issue. That all these people come into Echo, not all of them, a majority of the ones that they don't house leave the Echo and then use the creek as a bathroom. That to me is an environmental issue. In 2002, when Charlotte and Mike were running it, we got a set of rules that we wouldn't see broken down cars in our neighborhood. We wouldn't see shopping carts. We wouldn't see people lingering. On the way over here tonight, I counted 6 non-working cars in the street, people eating in the street, shopping carts with stuff in it. The other morning I went out and there's in the bushes across the street from my house, a guy sleeping in his sleeping bag with the food that he had got from Echo the night before. So what's the first thing you do when you get up? You know what happened. Seen the rules, we got the rules, they always get broken. Supposed to be inside after a certain hour. They have volunteers there. They're very nice people. They volunteer their time, but they're not trained to deal with people who have mental illness, drug addiction, and all sorts of things. So we really don't have a problem with the people that stay inside at Echo. It's the people they bring in, they feed, and then they send out. Where are they? They're in our neighborhood. And what do? I mean, they're using our place to sleep. They're using our place as a bathroom. It's been a mess. By feeding these guys, you're enabling them to stay on the streets. I think I could support that if everything they did stayed inside, but bringing all these people, I'd like to see the feeding program move to a different location. If you're going to expand that, the beds to 90 beds, eliminate the feeding at that site, and I think we would have less problems. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Kara Woodruff. I'm here in really 2 capacities tonight. The first is I'm the district director for Senator John Laird. He represents the 17th Senate District, which includes all of Santa Cruz, most of Monterey, and all of San Luis Obispo County, obviously including the city of Atascadero. And I'm based here locally in San Luis Obispo myself. I think the prior speaker did a great job of describing the problem of homelessness. And isn't that the whole point? We don't want homelessness in the community. We want the people that don't have a homes to be able to get into permanent housing. And that's what Echo does. And this vote before you is to say, let's take the children that are a part of that community who have grown up in an unstable environment and put them in a family unit that's directed just for them with services that really work for them. And then those children can be surrounded by other children, other moms and dads, and be a really be part of a supportive, nurturing community so that they can find permanent housing and avoid some of the problems that we were hearing about. So you found in your notes, hopefully, a letter of support from Senator Laird. He's been a strong supporter of ECHO. In fact, homelessness, as you know, is a perennial problem throughout the state. It's a really big issue in the 17th Senate District. It's probably one of the biggest social issues, if not the biggest one in the district. And Senator Laird has spent a lot of time, as have I, visiting a lot of homeless services that provided throughout the Central Coast. But ECHO really takes the lead in providing outstanding services, and their record just speaks for themselves. Year to date, over 250 people have gone from unstable housing situations to permanently housed. So it's a real victory. And so that is why he's supporting this project. I also serve as a member of the board of directors for ECHO. It's been my great privilege and honor to work with the rest of the board members and the staff here. I volunteered a couple times too. And I just want to say one thing about the feeding program every night. It is not easy being a homeless person. And if you can get one nutritious meal a day, it can change your world from very much on the edge to at least having some energy to try to tackle some of your problems. And a lot of the people that come every night to get dinner are exposed to ECHO and its programs. And many of those people ultimately become part of the 90-day program. It's how you attract people to start making changes. It helps them integrate into the community so they can take a really brave step to changing their lifestyle. So with that, I'll just say Senator Laird's in strong support of this new family unit, as am I, and I thank you all for being here. Thanks.
Thank you.
My name is Greer Woodruff, but I'm actually not related to Kara. We somehow just both ended up on the ECHO board together. I'm going to start just by saying thank you so much for having us be here and for the forum and the dialogue to be able to discuss so many of these touchy subjects. I serve as the ECHO board chair here in Atascadero. Our board represents a diverse group of locals with different backgrounds and life experiences. We are a group of local attorneys, bankers, large-scale farmers, business owners, nonprofit professionals, and government policy advisors. Our board is in 100% support of the proposed addition to ECHO Atascadero's family wing. We are committed to representing our community and know that it is vitally important to address their needs and concerns. We continue to dedicate our time to ECHO's clients and also maintenance of our good neighbor policies. Working with the city and our surrounding community is a high priority. We understand that the nature of the work requires all of us to continue to work together. Many of you know the successes of ECHO since 2001, but we are looking for further support to continue the necessary care that we know this community needs. I encourage everyone here tonight who hasn't already to come by our Atascadero campus to see the truly inspiring work that goes on day in and day out. Our board of directors and ECHO staff, thank you for the support of ECHO to date and look forward to continuing to work with the city and its residents. Thank you so much for your consideration.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Babette Decoux. I'm the kinder, gentler Decoux. But I do live with Jay. This is not in my backyard. It has always been in our backyard, always. From a 3-month rotational program under Bush's Thousands Points of Light to a permanent location, to an ECHO location, to an expanded one. It has always been in our backyard. And we were there when it was solely a Baptist church. So I'm going to say, first of all, okay, I love the work that ECHO does. And I personally am not objecting to building the new facility. I know the issue of safety is primary concern of families, and there are families who don't take advantage of Echo services because they don't feel it will be safe for their family. 100%, I am there with you on that. The concern that we really have when we talk about the feeding program, I understand that it's a chance to connect and it's a way to connect. But please don't believe that all of the homeless people are just waiting. There are homeless people with drug addiction problems. There are homeless people with mental health problems, and they are not going to take advantage of services until they have to. So we all know if you cannot have a family that's not touched by mental illness or drug addiction, because I'm there and our family has been touched by that. And I know there's a fine line between support and enabling. And so you have to be really careful. We're not enabling people to live in the creek and enabling people to live in the neighborhood under bushes and trees. I could actually do a 4-point slideshow of the worst of it, but I'm willing to have Echo in my backyard. I don't object to that. I do object to the people who are not taking advantages of services for their client services, who have all kinds of issues deciding to live in that neighborhood because that's where they get meals and showers. And the second thing, it looks like this is an expansion of that program. And one of the things that has saved us as neighbors is when there's clear rules, hours, and conduct. And we know when people aren't supposed to be there. And we know when we can call the police because somebody is transgressing on the conduct rules. And that keeps us safe as a family in the neighborhood. And so I really want to make sure there are clear rules and clear expectations. And finally, this is the very first time Echo's done this kind of an expansion where they didn't reach out to the neighbors.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's John Sanders. My wife and I have lived at 6790 Standing Nez for 37 years. It's right around the corner from Echo. So we've been there long before Echo was even a thought. And I know I'll be in the minority in opposing the expansion of Echo, as I was one of the few who opposed the location of the Echo facility when it was first proposed. I want to be clear, I do not oppose Echo. They do good things with the in-house with the people who want to get ahead in life. I am only opposed to the location of the facility, as I was back in 2013, the expansion and the meal program. Being adjacent to 2 schools is, in my opinion, the last place this facility should be, especially with the open meal program. There are currently at least 5 cars that are semi-permanently parked at the island across from Echo. They often have all of their possessions unpacked from their cars, and some even set up tents. Again, adjacent to 2 schools and on the path to the junior high school. Although I did notice that they all disappeared the weekend of the Long Walk Home fundraiser, they're all coming back now. On this current proposed amendment, I would like some clarification on the proposed numbers. The current permit allows for 60 client serving beds and 80 meal programs. And according to the staff report, they're full most nights. That only leaves 20 meal programs apart from the people who are staying there. And based on what I've seen, people that I've talked to, what I've heard tonight, it sounds like there's a lot more than 20 meals besides the 60 who are staying there being served. With the change to 90 client serving beds and 100 meal programs, that only leaves 10 meal programs besides the people who are staying there. There's more than that sitting out in the island waiting for their meals. The open meal program attracts the unhoused who do not want help. They live on our streets and our creeks, outside our businesses, leaving their trash, needles, and other unpleasant items. To be honest, we the people paying taxes to live here should not be subject to this, while these people who do not contribute anything to our city take advantage. Expanding the building here is only going to attract more of the people that, in my opinion, we do not want hanging around next to our two schools. Again, additionally, this expansion will continue to, again, in my opinion, erode the neighborhood quality of life and lead to decreased home values. And I want to thank you. I'm not happy.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you so much for being here tonight. My name is Tess Davis Cheek. I'm an Atascadero resident, a small business owner, and as of recently, a mother. I've also worked in San Francisco's homeless services for over 11 years and am now a board member at ECHO. I'm here tonight to respectfully ask you to support ECHO's Family Wing project. We've all seen that there is a glaring need for accessible, comprehensive services for our most vulnerable populations. Not just unhoused individuals, but unhoused families. Fortunately for us here in North County, we have an exceptional organization with boots on the ground doing some of the most challenging work. In my 11 years of experience working in this field, I have seen that many of the other organizations doing the same kind of work are not able to effectively do so due to the complexities of these issues. What ECHO is doing, they're doing so gracefully and with so much dignity and respect to the people that they serve. ECHO has proven their value to the community time and time again with their countless success stories and their unbelievable housing rates. Just this year alone, they have helped 253 individuals and families move into stable housing. 253. Again, as someone who's worked in homeless services for over 11 years, that number is astounding. Currently, ECHO has 43 households consisting of 125 individuals on their family wait list. There is clearly an urgent need for more family shelter beds. And here we are with the opportunity to combat this problem directly, providing a safe and warm space for families to take refuge together with one another while they stabilize and access case management services and ultimately housing. So many times I've talked to people here in Atascadero, from neighbors to colleagues, about the issue of homelessness. And they always ask, typically pretty frustrated, how can we fix this? Here we have a clear opportunity for a solution. As a proud Atascadero resident, I enthusiastically endorse this project because I care deeply about my community and raising my daughter in a city that prioritizes kindness and compassion and helping those in need. I know that those are the values of ECHO, and I truly believe those are the values of the city of Atascadero. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
I'm shorter than the rest. Good evening. My name is Kyle Flaherty. My family moved here in the 70s when we had all sorts of lovely things in this area, and it's changed. But I'm still here. I have a 16-year-old. I have an 18-year-old raised in this area. And my 16-year-old started volunteering at ECHO when he was about 6 years old. I have adorable pictures if you ever want to see it. He was a laundry angel. He would go and he would pick up all the laundry at ECHO. And this was before they had their facilities there to wash all of the bedding. And he would painfully try and fold sheets and then bring them back and stack them nice and organized. We continue to volunteer today. Yes, my 16-year-old. We serve meals mostly now. We also do some babysitting. ECHO provides some parenting classes and resources for these families, and we provide the fun and entertainment for the kids when the parents are doing that. For the meal program, as someone who's been involved for over 10 years, you make excellent points about the numbers. The meal times happen when a lot of the residents are out working. And so the meal program might only serve on a given night half, 30%, 40% of the actual residents that are there. So we are not over serving our commitment, but a lot of the residents actually don't always eat there at the facility. I also just wanted to mention that the homelessness is a problem that we are all facing daily. I myself also have issues that I've had in the community, but the issues are not with ECHO and not with the solutions they're providing. This is an opportunity for us to get these kids into stable housing and stop the cycle and move us forward so that hopefully my kids, my grandkids aren't having these same conversations. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is Andrew Hayes. I'm a resident at 7975 San Marcos, which is in between Portola and the high school. It's not as close to ECHO as Mr. DeCoux,
Can you pull the microphone up closer to your mouth? Thank you.
but it is close enough that I know whether the Greyhounds are winning without turning on the radio. So I'm also on the board. But I've also spent 8 years on the Tascadero Unified School District. I know very well what issues the high school has to and can overcome. I've been an attorney in this county forever. Don't laugh, Mr. DeCoux. You were one of the first clients. That makes you old too. But I do understand the balancing of competing interests. And we've heard those tonight, and it's difficult. It distresses me greatly to hear how upset my good friend Mr. DeCoux is. But as neighbors, we have a lot more in common than we are apart. We all agree we wish homelessness wasn't an issue in our community. We all agree that it would be great if our community could build and operate a shelter that has no real chance of negatively impacting anyone or anything. I mean, unfortunately, that doesn't really exist as an opportunity now. We also agree that not having any plan to deal with this issue is far worse than having a plan that, to the best of our ability, we create and implement. Nothing is perfect, but I support this project as a board member because especially it is a family unit designed to keep families together while they're working through this extremely difficult time. And I'm not biased against men for obvious reasons, but personally, thought of a mother with her kids under a bridge or on the 41 on-ramp, waiting for an opportunity to get help and get out of this is heartbreaking. The thought of them not being together is heartbreaking. So we need a plan. We need to aggressively approach this. And in order to have a workable plan, we need a partner. Sure. Already? No way. Well, the plan should be to partner with ECHO. I'm biased, but it's a great organization that's organized, cost efficient, has a great reputation. Thank you.
Thank you. I got to keep you on track. I work for an attorney. I know how much you guys like to talk.
Right.
It's a lot. You like to talk a lot. Yeah, the more they talk, the more they get paid. That's true. Okay, so before I go to my fellow commissioner, first I have to close public comments. Okay. Okay, I'm officially closing public comment. I'm going to say something before I turn to my commissioners because I'm the chair and sometimes I get to do that. I think Mr. Hayes had a really good point about conflicting interests. And I think that with many of the ECHO board members, the CEO, the outreach, I'm sorry, I forgot your title, Austin, the outreach, whatever coordinator guy. This is a great opportunity for you guys to engage with these people who live near you and find out how you can address their issues, because you told us a lot about how you're flexible to help the people that you serve, but it's also important to be flexible to help the people that are your neighbors, because y'all aren't going anywhere. I know you guys don't like the location of ECHO, but they're not going anywhere. And these neighbors have lived there for a long time, and so they're not going anywhere either. And so I know you reached out to 4 of your biggest neighbors, but size isn't always important. So reach out, these people are here, they're willing to engage. If the CAT team needs to be involved at the end of mealtime, I mean, that's just a suggestion to make sure that they're getting out of that neighborhood. I think there are some solutions you guys can work out, and I will leave that to you. I think that there's no doubt that ECHO serves a huge percentage of our population, way more than they need to serve or should have to serve. Again, they're not going anywhere. I think that it's a needed and supported facility, and that it has a lot of community support, but that I also think it's important to acknowledge and address the issues of the people that live close to them. So that's kind of my 2 cents. I think the more people that ECHO can serve is wonderful, but we can't not address the people who live close, because it affects them too. It affects our homeless population, it affects everyone in the city, but it affects those people close to ECHO too. So I really hope you guys take that to heart. I've had enough interaction with you that I know you care. So I really hope that you guys can work together and find a solution that doesn't have poop in your front yard, because that is really an issue. So yeah. Commissioners, do you have any other questions or comments? Or yes, Commissioner Carranza?
I couldn't have said that better myself. I wholeheartedly 200% agree with your comment, specifically around some of these hard opportunity cost situations that I was explaining earlier before the public comment. I don't think we could create a solution for the teams that are sitting in the parties that are sitting in the blue chairs right now. Like, I don't think we could create a plan that would be better than what you guys could do together, working it out and talking to each other, because I do think it is extremely important that the trust remain if this project is going to expand. So yeah, I'm with you on that.
And there's exactly 6 weeks before it goes to city council. And so hopefully you can have some sort of plan or idea, or at least some conversations before then, so that when it is presented to the city council, you can say that you've addressed them and had those conversations. I was going to say something else and I forgot. Anybody else? Yes, Commissioner Anderson.
I agree with you. I just wanted to say that sometimes we tend to lump the problem and the solution together. I think ECHO is a solution that's really well executed, and the problem that comes along with it is something that can be handled separately and in a different way. And we need to kind of rally around that. People who don't want the services and still want to be continuously a problem in our community, there's other ways to deal with that. And I think that's where the CAT program comes in, and that's where sometimes getting the ability to get police involved and get these people reconciled, it is really important. We used to have a program where just simple drug possession would get you arrested and into a drug rehabilitation program. That went away with Prop 47. And I would like to see that return, because a lot of people are not given the services that they need at the time in their life when they need them, in order to get off the streets and out of your front yard. So thank you.
I'd like to add something as well.
Sure.
Well said, by the way. I would like to just reiterate that every person who's went up and spoken, I take everything very seriously. One of my things that I do is I'm a utility worker, so I firsthand see a lot of the things that are behind businesses and the not so good things. Some of the things that seem like they're hazmat, and I don't take it lightly. And there is a portion here where Echo can be a very large part of a solution. And I understand the concern because all things that we do have a societal impact. And I do hear you. And one thing that I saw that was a reoccurring thing from those who were opposed was kind of not really feeling heard. And I do take that very, very serious. And that is something that after this, I would probably like to look into a little bit more as far as that area. I would like to say that I do encourage the parties talking together because while it's in the phase before right now, I would like to see in November something where there's solutions. And so I do think that while things may go one way or the other, we should try to do the best we can to navigate the best solution for the public that we can. And but I do firsthand see a lot of things and what was brought up here. Thank you for actually being open to discuss it because it's not easy, especially when there may or may not be some expectation of morality one way or the other. And to be open and to speak up in the public like that, that's something I commend you for. And thank you.
I agree with that as well. Thank you for being here. Thank you for participating. Thank you for communicating with us. Also, whatever happens tonight, we haven't had a motion yet, but it is just a recommendation. Echo will be in front of the city council again on November 12th. So it is important for you to be heard and have the city council hear you. I always encourage people to speak up because it's important. You guys live here and it's important for you to be heard. Yes, Commissioner Schmidt.
Yeah. The people who spoke with because of the issues that they deal with Echo, they have been here, but they said they've been here before. I was here before. They have made the same comments in the past, and we have made the same comments in the past, and the city council has made the same comments in the past and trying to help them in whatever way it can. And so I think there's also needs to be a realization that whether it's Echo or whether it's the police or anyone else, there's only so much that can be done. If Echo doesn't serve meals in the evening, there's still going to be homeless people living in the creek. And there's still going to be homeless people living in the bushes across the street. Echo can't go across the street and can maybe talk to someone. That's all they can do. They, it would be offensive for them to try to do something else. So it's more of a societal issue. I mean, I have complaints about people who aren't homeless, who have fancy cars, who go up and down my street at 60 miles an hour. I don't like that at all, but yet they do it. And it's just part of what we are as a society. And I think overall what Echo does and what I have seen in helping in many ways is very beneficial. And I don't think we're ever going to be able to resolve people's concerns that live within that area. It's just going to be. And I guess the only limitation would be is that, again, we don't issue the permit, but again, people are still going to be living in the creek. People are still going to be trashing things. It's still going to be happening without Echo there. So I'm very sympathetic to their comments and have been in the past, but I don't have a resolution for it.
I would like to make one note. One thing that I did notice is this is more geared towards family solution. And myself having a 2-year-old, kids get expensive. So I can see a future of this where the families are probably going to benefit more from the food side of things here. And there are larger issues that are past our jurisdiction being able to solve here. But that being said, you may have heard these things before. But I do think that Echo has a long-term vested interest to work with the public. So I'll intend to be at that November meeting.
Does anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that motion. Oh, right, you have to say what motion you're making. All
Oh.
eager here.
You just gave a rubber stamp.
Do you want
I
to,
know,
do you want me to
right?
do I'll make a motion for the draft PC resolution, eh? Right?
Yeah, you have to say the number.
Yep.
Can we get the resolution on the screen?
Yeah, give me, you want me to read the whole thing like I do always before they put it up? Because they always change it. I'll read it right from here.
Okay,
I'd like to make a motion to accept the draft resolution, resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Atascadero, California, recommending that the City Council approve text amendments to the ES Emergency Shelter Overlay Zone AMC 9-3.504 Conditional Use Permit, PLN 2014-1492, and the El Camino Homeless Organization Echo Operations and Management Plan for the expansion of an existing shelter and programs within the emergency shelter ES Overlay Zone APN 030-341-013.
beautifully done.
I'll second that.
Oh, you.
You got the easy part.
Okay, can we have a roll call, please, Annette?
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Carranza,
Yes.
Commissioner Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Vanden Eyck,
Yes.
Chairperson Keen.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Do we have any commissioner comments or reports? I don't have one. I already know who I need to talk to. Director, Kelly, I'm just gonna call you director from now on. Do you have any reports?
I don't think you should do that. I don't have much to report. We do have some planning commission meetings coming up. I know we didn't have a lot of items on the agenda through summer, but now they're all stacked towards the end of the year. So we are bringing the next meeting, I believe, a development agreement for the site on between Viejo Camino and El Camino Real, which was the former site that proposed the mini storage. So the city's been working with the applicant and owner on a development agreement that would allow for some additional uses and development standards on that particular site. So that'll be coming forward at your next meeting, as well as we're hoping to bring a final ordinance version for recommendation to City Council of our CEQA streamlining portions of our code update that we're working on. So you should be seeing that in your next packet.
We're gonna need a lot of caffeine for that meeting.
Potentially, and potentially some munchies. So we will make sure that we have all that ready to go.
Okay, thank you everyone for coming tonight. And I'm going to adjourn this meeting. Our next regular meeting will be on October 15th at City Hall, which is here in this room. Yeah, that's it. Adjourned. I get to bang the gavel.